Hello and welcome to the most generic podcast on the internet. My name is Josh Hawks. I am the 303 Ninja, and right over there, he is my podcasting partner for life. He is the other guy. It's Mr. Francis Fernandez.
I'm right over here.
He's right over there. Did you see how abruptly I had to turn off the music so I didn't have to, put them both on at the same time? That wasn't very smooth.
I barely noticed.
No, well, good. I did. So,
well, because you're the producer of your own show, so you're going to notice those things.
Yeah, I'm doing too many things at the same time, you might say. How you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing okay.
We started a little late. I apologize. But
we're catching up.
We have to warm up these pipes.
Yeah, normally back in the day when we didn't record live, we had all the time in the world to just kind of, BS and just catch up. And
the days
now that we have a schedule,
right? But back in the day when our recording sessions were no shit, sometimes 5 hours long, because it was just like, yeah, let's catch up, let's hang out, or sometimes it's let's podcast, and then let's catch up and hang out, and it'd be like midnight my time. Be like, all right, we gotta stop talking.
Well, I mean, we had stuff to catch up on. Yeah, stuff to talk about.
Yeah. There's always things to talk about. This is why we do this every week.
Yeah, there's only so much we can talk about with conventions, which was one of our shows that we did, or so much we could talk about nostalgia. Right. So
sometimes those conversations, before you hit record, sparked up other topics.
It was the foundation for a lot of really good conversations that probably would never make the air.
Oh no, that's funny too, because we've talked about for going on 10 years now about, man, all these conversations we have before we hit record, before we found out about Pentagram. What the fuck is it?
Patreon.
Patreon. Yeah. I fucked it up again. I did. That was an honest mistake. Before that was even a thing, we always said, hell, it'd be cool to release this as like a secret episode to our followers and whatnot. And going back on it, can't talk. There's so much breaking of kayfabe that happens in those conversations.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Really, is that it's good conversation if we were willing to share our personal, intimate lives with everyone else, which we're not. At that point.
But I think if we do set up the Patreon at some point, to do one of those things, have a secret released episode of like what it looks like when we're setting these things up or whatnot, or I don't know, giving something away that would be like raw would just be kind of fun.
By the way, yes. Do you have fanfare or something? Because we should probably celebrate the 20 followers since we hit our first goal of 20 followers, like officially.
Did we officially hit 20?
Yeah, according to your profile about POI podcast, you have 20 followers.
Well, hang on. I don't have fanfare, but I do have. Yes. And hello, Ginger. I did not see that. But wow, I didn't know that it hit 20.
But
We
congratulations.
are, thank you. We are reaching though for that 2,000.
Oh God!
Eventually
2,000 with a Norm background.
That wasn't supposed to happen at the same time. Let me fix that, and let's just pretend like that didn't happen, right? And then, whoa, look at that.
So I think
that's really cool. I didn't look. I was playing LSPDFR the other day, and a couple people, joined in while I was playing, and I just didn't think to go back and look. So that's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think, as such, we have a new goal.
Mm.
We have our new sub goal is the road to 50.
Road to 50. I will make an animation for that next week.
We should do a road to 50 because 50 is going to take a little bit longer.
Right.
I
mean,
but
look, the road to 2000 is just it's an inside joke now at this point, right? But I appreciate any and all people that want to hang out and watch the content that we all and I provide.
Now, does 2000 mean any type of followers? Like, does it have to just be specifically listeners? Can it be like Instagram followers or Twitter followers?
It just said social media.
Okay, because this is me bragging just for a second here because I am at 1,300 followers on Instagram. With only following 400 people, so it's not like I'm following. You know how people will follow 20,000 people to get like 2,000 followers.
Sure. Well, it's because you show pictures of your soles of your shoes.
Yeah, my boobies.
Your movies.
Birds, the booby,
the
bird.
Shit.
Yeah.
Makes me look.
But
what?
Okay, so 2,000 on here. 50. So road to 50.
Road to 50. Road to 50 is the new thing we can say. Yeah.
Well, then you're an affiliate at 50, which means you can have subscribers and
look. I mean, if that kind of thing happens, that's really cool. I mean, you should always have a goal and I guess the drive to get to that, right? It would be like icing on the cake if we got up that high. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be. Do you remember the conversation that we were having before I hit record about just like validation?
Yeah.
It would be cool to hit that goal, just to get that validation of the 10 years that I have been doing this. And it would just be kind of cool to be like, someone to be like, yo, here's a bone. You know what I'm saying?
I wish seniority meant something like on Twitter, right?
Oh, right.
I mean, because blue checkmark people, I don't know. I feel like I've endured enough Twitter to have earned a blue checkmark. In
time, at least like maybe a different color for like some sort of rank. Yeah. Like Reddit doesn't Reddit have ranks?
Reddit doesn't have ranks, but they have like
karma.
You get like little things you can give to people like that cost actual money, like little stickers and stuff that you give to people. You can give the gold stamp, right? The silver award, the gold award, or whatever, for really good stuff, and it gives you access to things. While Twitter should have like a bronze, silver, and gold check mark for like, okay, the gold ones are like the celebrities. The silver ones are for like press, right? For the press. And then bronze are for the people who've had to endure a decade of Twitter.
At least. Like active at least.
Yeah. Active Twitter users who've had to just live in the world of Twitter for 10 years. They deserve.
I think you and I have both looked up when we got onto Twitter and figured out that we're both like within the top 5 or 3 to 5% of
easily
of when people got onto Twitter. And that number is huge, even at 3 to 5%. But that's still, when I first saw that, I felt like, wow, I am cool with the younger people. I'm hip to shit. I guess at the time I was still a younger person too, but like I may not be much of a Redditor, but it's cool to be on that's what we need, Francis. Is Twitter needs to have a badge for everybody that was around for the 140 days.
Oh, right. For when we had 140 characters and that was it.
You had to have there was a term, I can't think of what it was called now, but just like you had to really be precise on your words. You
Well,
couldn't have a lot of fluff in whatever you were going to post. You had to be direct.
Well, we tweeted when Twitter couldn't even take pictures on Twitter. You had to use TwitPic or a third-party person, or they wouldn't accept links. So you had to use Bitly or like the shortening.
Links.
Yeah, the little shorter links because you were taking up too much room with a regular link because Twitter didn't accept that. So we were during those days, the old days.
The old days when you had to get an invite to Gmail.
Oh, well, yeah. I had to get invited to Gmail to get into Gmail. But I guess the last Twitter thing I'm going to say is also we were there during the time when oh my God, I had it and I lost it because it was such an old thing that you couldn't do on Twitter that now people kind of take advantage, like are just like, yeah. Oh, when the Twitter timeline went in chronological order and it didn't do like, oh, here's your favorite stuff at the top or here are the people you follow at the top. You had to look. You had to be there at the time it happened, otherwise you missed it. Like, man, the good old days.
I'll cap it off. Cap it off. We got on the time of Twitter when it was still a fun place to be.
Oh my goodness! I've almost forgotten.
We met through Twitter, Savannah. In a sense, all of it. The junk food group, the POI group.
It was made possible through Twitter.
Was made possible via Twitter.
Yeah. Facebook did nothing for us.
Well, it's true. I mean, the only thing Facebook did was give us a better idea who the fuck we all were.
I find that Facebook nowadays, especially nowadays, because back then, because I joined Facebook when you needed to be a part of a school. You had to have a college email address. And now I feel like the only purpose of Facebook is to remind you when someone's birthday is. Like, that's it. That's the only thing I get every day from that. My email says, oh, by the way, today is so-and-so's birthday. In which I promptly ignore because I never greet anyone on their birthday on Facebook. It's like, that's good to know. I'm going to just ignore it and move on.
I mean, I genuinely feel that if you really know that person, you should be contacting that person a little more personably than Facebook.
And you shouldn't need
You really shouldn't need Facebook to tell you it should be in your calendar.
Even though I'll tell you what, I'm not going to lie. What I loved about my ex was she took care of everyone's birthday. She had a little book. She had a little calendar book. She put everyone's birthday.
Little day planner type of thing.
Exactly. It was a day planner.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to think about birthdays for 8 years of my life. Because she took care of all of it. Everyone's birthday. It didn't matter who it was. She knew exactly when it was and what we should do. It's like, this is what I gotta do. I'll send them a gift. Blah, blah, blah. Give me some money. All right. We'll go half-seas on the gift. Okay. Here's or whatever. And I never had to think about it forever. New girlfriend doesn't know anyone yet. So
well, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But and I did say that, I mean, and you said you don't acknowledge people on Facebook. And
never.
And you never do, and at least you're consistent about it, right?
Oh yeah.
And you're not selective. And I'm not saying that anybody that I know is. Maybe there is. Fuck, I don't know. But yeah, I just think like if I don't have somebody in my calendar, and it popped up on the Facebook, first thing I do is put them in my calendar. And if I have that person's phone number, I at least text them. Nobody likes a phone call anymore.
I don't answer my phone, even if I know who the person is. They better leave a voice
message. In the 10 years that you and I have known each other, we have talked on the phone 3-4 times tops.
Yeah, easily. And I think that was like...
Most of them were at Comic-Con trying to... Where the fuck are you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I think... I don't really talk to... There's only 2 people I talk to on the phone. Heather. and Martha.
Well, sure.
2 people I talk to on the phone. Ever. No one else. I don't talk to anyone else on the phone. But, yeah, I think... When it comes to, I think that's the bane of Facebook's existence, actually, is that it now makes it so that anyone can appear kind of thoughtful.
Sure.
And when you're not, you're just like, oh, well, it popped up in my thing. Like,
Right.
It's the reason why I hide mine. I don't have it public in any platform because I don't want anyone to know or acknowledge it.
Of all the people out there that I know that really wanted to keep their birthday very private, you have been the best about it. But like 7 years ago, I caught you slipping.
Well, it's still there.
And I won't break kayfabe.
No, yeah.
But
I know you won't.
I saw your birthday posted, your actual birthday posted, not posted, but it was part of a bio.
Yeah.
And I just texted you and I was like, so this is your birthday, right? You're like, what? Wow. I'm psychic.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that it was visible, and then it's like, oh well, and it's not something I can actually get rid of, which sucks.
Oh really?
I've tried everything I could to get rid of it. I cannot get rid of it no matter what. So it's like, oh well. I mean, if people know where to look,
that's kind of funny at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just I don't know. There was a point to all of that, but.
They're just knowing, acknowledging and knowing personally birthdays, I think is a really nice, it's a nice thing to do for people, in general, is having that kind of personal touch because again, Facebook has made it impersonal because everyone who is your friend and people have thousands of friends some of them have thousands of friends on their Facebook pages. Anyone can know when it is. Anyone can say happy birthday.
Right.
But, the real question is, and I challenge anyone to do this, is you can hide your birthday. You don't have to have it up there. Just hide it.
Right.
Hide it and then see what happens. And it's a sad eye opener because again, I have 100. I like to think of my friends as close, and luckily, even though I don't acknowledge anyone's birthday, you guys are still friends with me, which is nice.
Right.
Like no one seems to be mad that I don't acknowledge you on your birthday, which is great, at least through Facebook. But yeah, hide it and see who greets you on that day or who says anything on that day.
At the same time, though, that could be a detriment to your psyche. At the same time, though.
Yeah, it'll kill your self-esteem because a lot of people rely on it, not because they don't care, but just because it's convenient. Like, that's the other thing. It's just convenient. I don't think people don't want to know when your birthday is. It's just the fact that, well, there's already a thing that tells you. Like, why would I need to write it down or why would I need to put it on a calendar? It already tells me.
I know somebody who hasn't been on Facebook in 2+ years who had a birthday recently, the last 3 or 4 months. And said to me the other day, like, I should log in just to see all the birthday wishes. And I'm like, if you haven't been on there, what's the point? Like, you've gone this long and you haven't missed it. I mean, I'm not saying don't go for the endorphin rush because seeing birthday wishes for 2 years would be kind of fresh. At the same time, though, if you've gotten away from it for reasons, why not stay away?
Yeah, I don't really see a point anymore going on to certain social medias right now. It's all kind of ugly.
Every time this conversation comes up, I've said the same thing to you. You just have to include more nudity into your timeline, and it changes everything, Francis. You're going through, and it's political. It's political because you don't realize who's retweeting what exactly when you're following people. I mean, you see who's retweeting it, but you don't realize it, right away, unless it pisses you off. Then you look. But it's just like political, some sort of opinionated post, whatever. Oh, look, nude boobies. That's great. Thank you. I needed that. All right, let's go. Oh, racing information, wrestling stuff. Oh, look, those are some nice legs. All right. I'm just saying it breaks things up. It makes Twitter a lot more fun when you're scrolling through. You got your phone on the table at Starbucks and you're scrolling and somebody walks by and there's just a GIF and there's somebody playing with their boobies. It's just, they give you that look, that look. And you're just like, hey, You know, this is I need that to break up all the crap that's on Twitter.
I mean, that's the El Hawkes brand. The El Hawkes brand. I think the AKA of the other guy brand, unfortunately, means because they'll if people got beef with you, they'll look at your followers and be like, "Who does this guy follow? Boobs everywhere. Oh, okay, he's cool." Yeah, right. As for like, I try to follow like neutral gamer people, whatever. Like,
right.
You know, mine are very kind of neutral, and I think I follow two people who. One's a photographer who, yeah, will have boobies on his timeline like every once in a while because that's the type of photographer he is. And this other guy that I met at like an event who was just like, hey, dude, if you want to follow me, that's cool. But just realize that like it's all like naked anime things. And I'm like, whatever. And so my timeline is just broken up with like, okay, yeah, politics. Oh yeah, here's gaming stuff. Oh yeah, here's like, you know, whatever. And then just the randomest
hey,
hentai stuff is like, okay.
I'm just saying, it's whatever that if that's not your thing, if nudity's not your thing, like whatever your thing is, you should have a whole bunch of that you follow on the Twitters to break up all the monotony and hate and negativity that is on Twitter.
I'm very fortunate that I don't have to worry too much about that because I forget there is a third person who also doesn't post nudity but likes to DM me nudity, and that's the girlfriend likes to DM me nudity for some reason.
Hey, that's what do you mean for some reason?
I don't know why she does it. I'm just like, she's like, what do you think about this? I'm like, yeah. Yeah. She's like, great, and she'll move on and like send me some more stuff. I'm like, okay, you just. It's like, I always ask her, it's like, how do I explain this to people? Like,
well, one, you're not supposed to, probably.
Yeah, probably not.
You know, and two, I mean, like, whatever. I mean, I have a couple of friends that are that at least pretend, if they aren't really models, they at least pretend to be, and they're pretty damn good at it. And sometimes they take pictures that have no clothes on them, and they're not like hustler, look at me, it's type of pictures. Burlesque-y, it's right? Burlesque, or it's teasing, or it's whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like, hey, I'm holding a gun and I'm naked, and it's I've seen it before. I'm just saying.
Oops.
Look, if that's your thing, I'm going to support you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Again, I'm very fortunate that I have some people who do break up some of that stuff, but yeah, it can get tough. That's for sure.
Yeah, there were a few avenues we could have taken during that conversation there that I was ready. I was ready with we had a perfect one. It's gone now. I don't even remember what we said, but I don't even want to talk about that right now. Okay. There's because I'm sitting there trying to think of there's no way to segue into any of the things I want to talk about today, really. But
is any of it wrestling?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, no. No.
All right.
Just before, a couple hours actually before we hit record, word got out that Norm Macdonald had passed.
Oh, I thought this is the one you were going to avoid. Okay, wow, yeah, yes. Yeah.
Norm Macdonald was awesome. Very dry humor, super deadpan, like everything. And that's what I loved about the guy. It just sucks. He had cancer and he didn't tell nobody. I mean, I'm sure he obviously told people about it, but he didn't make it a public thing.
He was married, wasn't he?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, cancer sucks. Fuck cancer.
Yeah, it's the worst thing. I think that it's the one thing I don't understand why it exists as a thing in humanity. Because its only goal is to kill. It's not a virus. It's not a disease. It's just a thing that just exists to end people's life, and it just sucks. But Norm Macdonald was my former co-host Dave the Drummer's all-time favorite comedian.
I can
And for
totally see that.
years-
I can totally see that.
Oh man, for years I'm like, I don't get why you find this guy funny. Like, he's not funny. And he would show me stuff where, like, okay, yeah, like he did, like, there's this one interview he did with Conan O'Brien where he tells the story about a moth, and it is the most excruciating but funny story, and you can see both the frustration from Conan O'Brien turning into hilarity afterwards, because again, you don't know where he's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did a roast with the roast that was going around was the one with Bob Saget.
Yes.
And how he intentionally bombed, and while the audience didn't find it funny, all the comedians knew exactly what he was doing and found it the funniest thing.
Yeah.
And he's like a comedian's comedian. People want to emulate his timing, his delivery. Because he doesn't have the most expressive voice, right? He's just, it's very monotone-ish.
Yeah, monotone, deadpan.
Deadpan monotone. And it's just like, and he'll just tell the story. He'll just tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, there's no, there's no ups. It's just this straight thing. And it's funny, and it took me a long time to find him funny. For a long time, I'm like, well, I watched his SNL stuff. I'm like, eh. And apparently he was called back to SNL like a year and a half after he was fired.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For SNL, and he's like,
he was fired for not being funny enough. That's the reason why they told him he was fired. You're not funny enough.
Yeah.
But in a year and a half, he's funny enough to come in and host the show. And he said something like, a year and a half isn't enough time to get funny enough.
But it's enough for this show to suck, was more or less what he was trying to say. Yeah, and it was
in a year and a half time, the show began to suck, or sucks enough that whatever we're whatever.
We're butchering his timing and again his delivery, but
the Bob Saget, I believe, was the one where he had the cue cards, or the 3x5 cards.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same one. When he was sitting, what do they call it? The dais?
Dais, yeah.
When he's sitting in the dais, he was reading the sports page the whole time. Wasn't paying attention to anybody. Literally had the newspaper up around his face, and I think a producer came by and told him to at least fold it down at one point.
Yeah.
But he was just reading the newspaper the whole time. People made jokes about it, and the camera would pan. He was like, huh? Yeah, just, whatever. But yeah, went up with the jokes on 3x5 cards, and just like all right, they said these were going to be funny, so let's see, and just read them. I think that's the thing that you were talking about, where everybody that was on the stage was dying, and the crowd just didn't get it. He would just deliver the whole joke, the setup and the punchline, basically in one breath, and look up from the card with that big shit-eating grin that you see there on the screen.
Yep.
And wait for people to laugh. And the comedians were dying.
And he even had a podcast, I want to say.
He had a TV show as well that went like 3 years.
Yeah, he had a podcast and a YouTube show and a TV show. Yeah, he had a few things going on. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just recently saw this short clip of him on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and he brings up Bill Cosby. And the joke, I'm going to butcher the joke, but it was something to the effect of, I was talking to somebody and said, the worst thing about Bill Cosby is the hypocrisy. And I thought it was the raping. And it just caught Jerry Seinfeld off guard. He just lost it, and he's like, "Yeah, I thought the raping was the bad part, not the hypocrisy." And it was just it's just his delivery, deadpan. Mm-hmm. He barely has a smile on his face. He just knows. He has the knowledge. You see in his eyes. It's like, I gotcha.
Yeah,
like I gotcha. I didn't have to say much, and I gotcha. You thought I was being serious, and I gotcha.
I was watching an interview with Conan earlier, just to kind of see some of the best of Norm, right? and he was telling a story about his uncle Hector.
Mm.
And one thing that the interrogation school taught me is to kind of look for little tiny micro facial twinges and whatnot.
Sure.
And when he was telling the story, you could see what he was doing. He was trying to throw something out there to make people laugh so he can give him a couple seconds to think about the next thing he wanted to build upon Uncle Hector. And you could see it.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, okay, I got them giggling a little bit. Now I'm thinking. Okay, I didn't even listen to what Conan said. I'm just going. And same sort of thing. Like he could tell long form storytelling, joke telling, storytelling. Yeah. It's one and the same.
And again, it's a terrible loss.
Definitely will be missed for sure.
Yeah, young. I mean,
61.
So young. Yeah,
61, young. Yeah. So he kind of made his big name in the 90s.
Yeah.
Starring in the funny Adam Sandler films. Which what?
I mean, yeah, no,
he was funny in the 90s.
Adam Sandler films, but I thought you were going to mention the films he was like the star of.
I can't think of any movies nor Macdonald was a star in.
Either. They mentioned it on Twitter, and I already forgot him. And I'm like,
and that's not to say that they're not good movies. I'm sure they're good, but I can't think of any.
Yeah.
But we both went through the 90s as well.
Sadly.
90s. What do you mean, sadly? 90s were pretty rad.
The thing is, I think the peak of society was the 90s, early 2000s. Like, it obviously it waned because of some serious stuff that happened in 2001, but 90s totally, it was like the peak of music. I mean, you have Smash Mouth's All-Star to thank for that. But yeah, so what about the 90s? What happened in the 90s?
Well, the big boom of the 90s, a couple big booms, but pagers were a thing. Hang on. It makes sense in a second.
Okay. Yeah.
But so when pagers first became a thing, they were more for the doctors, more for professionals, and drug dealers. And the pagers were to be worn on your belt, right? And if you got the page, it would beep or vibrate, or maybe both. Mm-hmm. And you would look down at your belt region, and the screen would tell you a phone number, and you'd run to a payphone or run to your landline if you were home and call the number. When pagers became less of a drug dealer thing, or were more popularized by drug dealers, they became clear, transparent, see-through.
Well, wait, didn't telephones also become see-through at that time?
Francis. There's the topic of
tech or whatever.
Transparent tech. That was a big thing in the 90s.
It was.
Pagers, like we were talking about. When it became less of a drug dealer thing, see the one that's on the screen right now is more of the traditional Dr. pager, just not transparent. It would be black, right?
I remember those. Yeah.
It's not this picture. I think it's the next picture that comes up. Is the side view pager. Yes, the side view pager. That's when they became transparent. They came in fun colors. It was a good time. But you also had phones that were transparent. There was a special Nintendo 64 that was a purplish transparent color.
Yeah.
The iMacs were I think they were iMacs.
Yeah. They're iMacs. Yeah.
iMac computers. It was all-in-one, and it had
the first generation iMacs. Yeah.
First generation all-in-one iMac computers, and they were transparent with a fun color. That was one of their selling points. Was the fun color that you could choose.
That's true.
Game Boy Game Boy had a few different transparent versions of different Game Boy iterations.
Game Boy Advance was also transparent. Yeah.
Who what?
Game Boy Advance was also transparent.
Oh yeah. The government wasn't. What? So. I just had to throw a stick in there. It was fun. But yeah, there was a whole bunch of transparent stuff like that, and something that I thought would become a thing that never really took off, and I think still isn't a thing. It's an aftermarket thing. It's transparent phones. Instead of putting that weird, it's not quite paint, it's not quite a lacquer, because like the back glass of your phone, if you, I'm not telling anybody they should take it off, but if you were to take it off, the underside of that glass is where the paint is, and you can scrape it, but it can also peel. It's very weird stuff. But there's a few people online that have done that, painstakingly taken the time to scrape and peel all the paint off that back glass. Find, enough stuff to keep it kind of sealed together. You lose all your water protection by opening it.
Yeah.
But they have a clear back to their phone. Mm-hmm. And what's really cool, there's one guy online that did that. He did it so much to a bunch of phones, he partnered with a company, scan the back of the phones, and make stickers.
Which makes more sense to me.
Sure.
So really, I mean, the biggest reason why we don't have transparent cell phones is because most people usually put a case on their phone. And so automatically you lose the luster of having that see-through. Also, what's usually in the back is like the battery. So all you're going to really see is the battery and then the screen. You don't get to see too much of the innards like you do with like the VTech phones and like the pagers, where you got to see all the little circuitry and you got to see how things were soldered together. And, things like that.
And it's becoming more and more of just a battery on the back. But the CPUs, you can see the backside of the CPUs or the heat sinks. And they're all phones, for certain phones, and they're all typically an L shape, so you can see at least the back, the back plating of where the CPU is, and see the battery. Back in the day, I was a huge HTC fan, and
I remember we talked about I remember.
I think we've had a few episodes where I just sat here and talked about how much I loved them. And which is probably why I still get Pixel phones, because they swooped up and bought the HTC team, the Google Pixel team. So I'm still, in my head, I'm still buying an HTC phone. But back in the day, their little Easter egg was red. They either had red batteries or they had red interior on the inside of their phones. If you were to pop, because back when you could take the battery off, if you had to for any reason, like reset the phone or what have you, you'd pop the back of that phone case and it would be red on the inside. You have no idea it was red. But that became their thing, where they just, they put either a red accent or, like I said, the interior of their phone would be red. And I just thought it was kind of a cool thing to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a little sad that they don't because everything's smaller now. I guess that's why they don't make it transparent anymore. You don't really get to see too much.
I mean,
things are getting smaller and smaller.
Well, some things are. The Google 6 or the Pixel 6 is about to come out, and the Pro version, which is taking over the old XL naming configuration, is going to be a 6.7-inch screen.
Well, I mean, I meant the internals are getting smaller.
Oh, sure,
sure. You need smaller chips. You need smaller wiring. So you're not going to see as much as like you did when you had your Game Boy, where you got to see all that stuff.
Sure.
So you're gonna, you can see get a transparent phone, but then all you're gonna see inside is like the few wires that lead to the really tiny CPU, and the really tiny RAM, and the really tiny memory. And it's like, okay, well, I guess that's kind of cool that you can kind of see them, but they're usually hidden and away so that they're protected. But yeah, I mean, the phones will continue to be. I mean, I still think I still think it's a ridiculous trend that we're making phones the size of almost tablets. Like, I just don't understand. It just doesn't make sense to me. They're making phones that big.
It's all because, I mean, you got to look at the way people are consuming content.
Mm.
A lot of people sit and watch entire series on their phones while they ride the subway, while they're, you know, trying to fall asleep in bed or what have you. Like, there's protect kayfabe. I see people walking into work, just in general, to work, like this.
Yeah,
watching a TV show, watching an anime, watching a movie, watching a Marvel thing, you know, whatever. Like that, I think that's how a lot of people are consuming content. So,
yeah, I can see that.
Because a lot of people are consuming it that way, people want bigger and bigger screens. Even the folding phones are fucking huge screens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, ugly as shit, but you know.
Well, I watched when they came out, because all I had was my phone. I watched the Matrix 4 trailer, and then I watched the Hawkeye trailer on my phone, which is smaller than the other phones. I got the mini, I got the Apple Mini, iPhone Mini, so I didn't get to see as much. But I got, you know, I got really small stuff, a really small screen. I used to watch TV. Do you remember the iPhone or the iPod video, which had a 1-inch screen?
I had a Video Mini.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't have the Mini, but I had the.
Oh no, it was an iPod. It was an iPod Mini. It just happened to. I think it was like the 4th generation, maybe, but it was capable of video. That's all I remember.
Yeah. Well, yeah. After the iPod video, all iPods I think were capable of video, because they're like, oh, we could show video on this thing. But a 1-inch screen. I watched TV shows on a 1-inch screen while working out, and I'm like, how am I doing this? It's so tiny. Like you barely make out anything.
Do you remember the old? We're going old timey now. It was an old timey Casio TV radio thing.
Yeah.
It was no bigger than 1-inch screen, and it was black and white.
Yeah. Yeah, black and white. Had a really long antenna.
Mm-hmm.
Looked like a walkie-talkie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I may or may not have duct taped one to a dashboard while driving to Utah one time.
I got pulled over for watching TV on my phone.
They would have if they'd caught me, but I was watching allegedly watching Dennis the Menace while I was driving into Utah one time.
And I was very fortunate I only got a warning, and I wasn't given a ticket. But, yeah.
Surprised they let you in Utah.
Dennis the Menace.
It was the Dennis Menace cartoon. It was great.
Oh, yeah. It was great, actually. That is the superior of the Dennis the Menaces versus the one with Walter Matthau. Sorry, Walter Matthau.
And I also
was it Walter Matthau?
Yeah,
it was
in the movie. I don't know about TV show. I didn't like TV show.
There was no live action TV show. I think it was just a cartoon, wasn't it?
Dennis Menace was live action TV show.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was.
It might have been black and white, I think.
It definitely was. I'm pretty sure there was. Anyway, I just think there should be more see-through technology, more transparent technology. I miss it. But I also miss the 90s, so what do I know?
I know we brought 90s fashion back. I mean, the waist, the really high pants are back for the ladies still. I thought that would go away at some point and go back to the low-waisted jeans like of the mid 2000s, but apparently not. Not that it matters or anything. But we didn't take in the 90s. We're more. I think we're becoming more. What do you call it? We don't want to see what happens anymore. Like, we don't want to see what happens behind the curtain. We don't want to see the wizard, pulling the strings anymore for some reason, which I think is a bad thing. We should keep looking at what the wizard is doing, just for curiosity's sake. But I don't know. I don't know if people are as curious.
I think I let the experts on YouTube take care of that. Like, I've seen what the inside of a PS5 looks like.
No, but I mean the transparency thing, like you said. Like,
I'm all for that. But like,
Transparent
you know, if
PS5.
people want to
Love
take
that.
shit apart, you know, I'll watch that too. You know,
No, I would love a transparent PS5. I would love like my monitors. Like I love them to be transparent. That'd be so cool to kind of see the inner workings behind the, you know, because CRT were tubes, you know, and like this big bulb and whatever, and like all this stuff. Now it's like what
that
goes
could
on it,
kill
like-
you. The
Well, that
back
could
of it,
kill
the
us.
back of a TV could have killed you.
Could have exploded in your face.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Oh, man,
You know what else is crazy,
you-
Francis?
that's crazy.
The downfall of some actors and actresses.
Oh no, who do we hate now?
We don't hate. No, I don't. No. There's no hate here.
Okay,
This is more of a like, come on, man, right? The meat of the story here, but recently, Nicholas Brenden has been in the news recently.
No idea who that is.
Xander from the Buffy series.
Oh, Nicholas. Okay, now I know who he is.
Nicholas Brenden has a bit of a drug issue, bit of a prescription issue.
Oh,
I chose the picture I have on screen right now because the picture that was posted most recently is just sad. So we're gonna choose this mugshot as opposed to the mugshot that was posted recently. We need to get this guy some help. What I was going to say is the person that came up to mind recently is they got name similarity is where I fucked up. Brendan Fraser. Brendan.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser had a resurgence though. He came
Resurgent recently, and it was his agent or somebody close to him said that he saw all the outpouring of love, oddly enough, on Twitter.
On Twitter.
Of people being like, "Oh man, I'm rooting for Brendan. Man, I miss that guy. Well, you know what's that guy? You know." There was probably me going like, "Oh, what heroin hut is he hanging out in?" Because if I don't see any celebrity for a long time, they're in a heroin hut. That's just what I say. Sometimes I'm right.
I mean, yeah. I guess there's there's a percentage of it possibly being right. Yeah.
So and it was really cool to see that, you know, he got at least through the stories told on the internets that, you know, he really felt all that love going out to him. And I'm saying that I'm not saying that Nicholas Brenden and Brendan Fraser are on the same level, right? But as far as 90s actors and starring in beloved fan movies, fan TV shows and fan loved movies, it's one of those things. It's like, come on, man. Like, what are you missing out on? What do we got to give you? You know, like, you need a hug.
Well, especially in Nicholas Brendan's case, he's never acted much afterwards, while the other actors...
There is a movie he... oh, yeah, that's right. That's the other reason why I wanted to bring him up. I have to write it down before I forget. I did write it down. There's a movie he was going to be starring in. I think it's a direct-to-Netflix type of thing.
Sure.
But... he's starring in a movie soon, so he was doing something recently. But he, I shouldn't be giggling. There's my pen. That he had to pull out of PR for this movie just recently because he had paralysis in his genitalia.
I mean, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. Yes, I was going to say the same fucking thing. I don't know what that means. But what a thing. Like, does that mean he just, like, he was incontinent? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, does that mean...
erectile dysfunction?
Yeah,
Does that mean...
like... Hey, speaking of which, Francis.
Okay.
I found a ED online community this weekend.
Why?
I'm just saying I found one. I don't know what to say.
Okay. And were they great? Were they a lovely group of people?
Well, it wasn't hard to join their group. I got to work on that. I think it's funny, but I think my delivery is a little soft.
Jesus Christ.
I'm here all week, folks. Make sure you tip your waitress.
Coming in with the dad jokes. I love it.
Why has it got to be a dad joke?
Anything that's punny is considered a dad joke.
Okay,
Anything that's overly punny is considered a dad joke.
I think it's fucking hilarious. Because it is funny. Not a good joke, but it's that second part. It's that second part that gets you. I can't take full credit for it.
Is that a Norm Macdonald joke?
No, I read that would that would tie everything together so fucking sweetly. So fucking sweetly. But I am not smart enough to do that kind of research.
Oh no.
But I did overhear this in the world. And I was you know what? That's funny. And if I can figure out a way to slip that into conversations in the next 2 or 3 weeks, that's going to be great. So thank you, Francis, for...
I'm glad I can give you some setup.
Yeah, that was fucking great. I wrote it down in my notes just as like... There's even a side note that says like, if you could slip it in. Ha ha ha.
Well, you can because, ED. But...
man, that'd be a great place for a commercial. If we had commercials.
Yeah. Blue Chew.
I don't know what happens to this when it hits YouTube. Like... That is research that I actually do want to do, is figure out when the commercials hit in YouTube so I can make the cuts.
Well, yeah, because what's funny is there's this one YouTube channel I follow where they have breaks, like they know when the commercial is going to happen, and they make the break happen. So they know when to stop talking. There's like a brief second of just black screen, and then commercial, and then they come back.
Yep.
They know, and I think you have the power. Sorry for the inside baseball.
No, it's fine. I think this is interesting stuff,
but I believe once you get to a certain point, you can. I don't think we're at that point at the moment.
No,
but you can get to a point where you get to dictate where commercials land within your broadcast. And as long as you're consistent, they're cool with it, because obviously they want it in. Otherwise, you just tell them beginning, end, or middle.
Sure.
I believe, because when I was doing videos, I had that when I had the option to monetize, and like, where do you want the commercial? Beginning, end, or middle? And I'm like, beginning usually, because then you could skip it and just watch the rest of the video.
Right. But yeah, so back to Nicholas Brenden. Yeah, I don't know if we got to get him like we need to call Spike or something, or
we have to do an intervention.
We gotta
see where we
gotta figure out what the fuck Anya's up to, and like see if Anya can come by and give him a hug or something.
I mean, often I think in this particular case, I really do think it's just part of Hollywood. Like, people who, Hollywood and drugs kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And it's weird because,
a lot of people it's not, Francis, because you know what else goes really good with drugs? Life.
Well,
and I'm not.
Somebody debate that.
Sure, but I would counter debate that, because everybody's on drugs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on sugar and caffeine.
Drugs.
Those are considered drugs. Caffeine at least.
Birth control. Women's birth control. Drug. Technically, drug.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, everybody does drugs. I happen to do the fun drug.
Unless you're a CrossFit keto guy, and then you don't take anything but fresh air and meat.
Yes. Hey, where are all these CrossFit motherfuckers during that milk crate challenge that happened for 72 hours? That was a hot second thing.
You know what? Here's the problem with these fads is that they fizzle out super fast. I mean, planking lasted forever, right? That stupid where people would like slowly build up to that weird Harlem Shake video. The Harlem Shake videos lasted forever, even though it was for a good cause. But the Ice Bucket Challenge lasted forever. These were all like fads and memes. But this whole stupid milk crate thing, the only reason why I knew about it was the meme. Someone memed it in the sense of they're like, where are these people finding milk crates?
That is a question I have had a few times.
It's like, where are these guys finding all these milk crates? Like, they must be stealing it from somebody, because like no one has just milk crates, this many milk crates laying around. And I still don't know what the challenge is. In all honesty, I don't know what it is. I guess you just stack them up and you try to get as high as possible.
You build a pyramid.
Oh, you build a pyramid.
And you walk the pyramid. So like, do you remember MXC?
I do, yeah, sure.
Remember the most extreme elimination challenge. One of the things was running across the tops of like TV boxes that looked like dominoes.
Yeah.
Same.
American Gladiators had something similar.
Very similar.
It was a pyramid, and it was like squishy boxes you had to climb, and you kept falling because they were so squishy.
Yeah. Same kind of thing. Same kind of thing. You know, where are all these parkour dudes and all these CrossFit dudes? You know, where were they why weren't they just able to I tell you why, because they're just able to hop over the whole thing.
Well, the parkour people, I think, were the ones who could have easily just run across all the crates, no problem. It's the CrossFit people are so bulky and like unwieldy that they probably would have fallen every single time. It's the parkour people, which we should be really wagging our fingers at, because they should have been the ones to.
Sadly, it was all the people that were really drunk or on drugs that, you know, ended up with concussions.
Like the only reason why you would make a
ones.
pyramid out of freaking milk crates.
Right. That's probably where they got the milk crates from. Yeah, just we'll skip past that. So I hit all my bullet points. Francis, you did mention the trailer for those two things.
Yes, Matrix 4 and Hawkeye.
I have still not seen the Matrix trailer, just because, I mean, I'll get around to it. It's a Matrix. I'm not hot about the Matrix. I never was. I saw a breakdown for the Hawkeye trailer where they kind of go through like Easter egg. I haven't watched the actual trailer yet, but again, it's Hawkeye. I'm just going,
It's Lucky the Pizza. Well, it's hot. Here's the thing. Hawkeye has been ridiculed in comics up until this one particular comic by Matt Fraction, and I forget the other guy's name. Aja is his last name. And they made this series where it's a day in the life of Hawkeye, and it is funny, and it's, you know, it just makes the guy relatable. He's not married in the comic book though, which is like the weird thing. You didn't see the wife in the trailer, which makes me wonder if they're divorced, but I don't think they are. But you know, this is pretty much that comic, and it wasn't until that comic when everyone's like, Hawkeye, this comic is amazing. So much so that I mean, people loved it so much. I actually bought I think it's more than 5 issues now, or it's 5 graphic novels.
Yeah, a trade. Oh, you bought a set, like a lot?
I bought 5. I bought them as they came out. So I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5th one came out a few years later, and I haven't really gone from there. But I saw that first 4, which is, I guess, a whole story, and it looks like it's following those steps, because you even see the dog that's in that comic book appear in the trailer. That
is something that the breakdown that I was watching did talk about as well.
Lucky the pizza dog, yeah.
There was this particular breakdown was also saying that this could possibly help set up Far From Home, No Way Home.
No Way Home. It could, because No Way Home is next year. No Way Home is in November.
End of the year, 26th or 3rd, or it's right around on Christmas.
So I just want to point out one thing that I think is very funny, because people are noticing, and I find it hilarious. But a lot of kind of naysayers have been predicting the MCU, right? because they're replacing all of the main male characters with female characters. All of the main male characters are being replaced with female characters. Like, Captain America is being replaced with Captain Carter, really, versus the new Captain America.
I mean, that was just a one shot, but okay, go on.
Well, they're hoping to put her in live action for a movie. Iron Man is being replaced by Riri Williams for Iron Man.
They're going to do... okay, cool. I was questioning if they're going to do Riri or not.
She is officially in Black Panther 2.
Oh, awesome.
They're thinking of replacing Black Panther with the sister, right?
Okay.
So now, again, all of the main male characters...
Well, and then and Padme is Thor.
Padme is Thor. Hawkeye is being replaced by, because Hawkeye, what's his face isn't going to do this anymore, so he's going to be replaced by the girl from True Grit, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
So like they're being replaced slowly but surely by female characters, which whatever, it's fine. I don't know how well that'll do at the end.
There's the Young Avengers is coming up.
Yeah, but Young Avengers isn't an all female group.
No, but there's a lot more in them.
I would say about half and half, yeah. But they're really getting like, I'm trying to think who's the last male characters left. It's just the new Captain America. He's the last male character left. Oh, and Hulk, right?
She-Hulk is coming.
Doctor Strange, I guess. Well, She-Hulk is coming, so that's true. And Doctor Strange is there still, who will be the new kind of Tony Hawk for the new era. But I do. That. I mean, I don't particularly care. I mean, it's fine.
It doesn't make any difference
if it's good, it's good, right?
Yeah, I just want to be entertained.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
well, I need to watch the
What Ifs?
Matrix. I need to watch all the What Ifs, but I need to watch the Matrix trailer.
I'm excited.
Keanu is a friend of the show after all. I mean, he did sign those posters for us.
Oh my God! Nobody knows what that is. Nobody knows what we're talking about. Oh my goodness! That the movie that no one watched.
Yeah,
he signed the posters for.
Actually, I have my copy of the poster, and
I have mine.
Somebody
in a box.
Somebody that I work with is a big Keanu fan, so I am going to gift him that.
That's cool.
Later this year.
Gift.
Yeah,
you are thoughtful. You were very thoughtful.
Hey man, like I said, if I have the ability to, I like to bring more. Getting a happy birthday wish on the Facebooks, nice endorphin rush.
Sure,
it's nice.
Yeah.
Getting that text from somebody that you also know, maybe they sent you the message on the Facebooks and they texted you. Ooh, double rush. Maybe you even know the person well enough, and there's not a pandemic going on, and you get to hang out and go have some tacos or something. That's awesome. If you can do something for somebody, why wouldn't you?
That's a good question. I wish Twitter would listen.
I mean, that's true. But, whatever.
Yeah,
exactly. We found our Twitter circle. We found the people that we like to hang out and spend time with. We found our con mom on Twitter. Facebook was one of the two. Doesn't matter. We found our con mom through social media. We've made a lot of connections, so there's a lot of good things. I'm telling you, Francis, you just got to insert some more boobies into your Twitter timeline, and it just makes things better. And I think that's the moral of the story here. Insert whatever you're into your timelines, and Twitter becomes such a more palpable place. Yeah. I think that's everything for the show this week, Francis.
Yeah. We hit 20.
Woohoo! We hit 20. Yes. Thank you very much for all of that. I think that's awesome. We are on the road to, what was the 50. New goal? 50 is the new goal. 50. We are going to still put up the shiny GIF of 2000 because
2000 is the ultimate goal.
And it is the inside joke. So it is a thing. Make sure you do follow us and have the faith in us to entertain you. And because we're funny, damn it, we're fun to be around. Subscribe, follow, bell icons, hit them, twerk them, shake your booty at them. Do all those things. Follow us on all the social media things that you see at the top of the screen. For all the people that are watching, everybody that's listening, you should know by now because you've been listening to the show. But it's 314-764-7631 if you want to text, call into the show, or leave a voicemail. The POI podcast at gmail.com. You can find me at 303_ninja on the Twitters, 303ninja on the Instagram. And Francis, where can people find you? Maybe even tomorrow night on the internet.
Oh yeah, hey, I don't. Well, it's out now. It's live. So if anyone who's watching this after the fact and is interested in seeing Gigi Edgley from Farscape, I believe it's Farscape. I hope I have that right.
I think you're right.
She's gonna do an improv show with myself and Jeff Burns of Super Knocked Up fame, and we're gonna do a show tomorrow with her. I believe it's with her tomorrow. But either way, we have an improv show tomorrow. Big deal, big huge deal. Go check it out.
Do you remember? You remember we were on a. You and I did a improv show with a celebrity person one time, and I can't remember the celebrity's name anymore.
Oh, it's next week. Sorry, next week is usually. I guess tomorrow's not. Oops. But we did a show with a celebrity. Oh, we did, yeah, with the non-visitor from
the non-visitor. Yeah, I was like, what was her name? She had a very odd name.
Yeah, the non-visitor from Deep Space Nine.
And she loved us.
Yeah, she was great. She made fun of us and poked fun at us and just was the most adorable person to do a show with. I would love to. We should do stuff like that here.
In about 30 seconds, we're going to have a conversation because I have something for you. Yeah, so we'll be here next week, everybody. Same time-ish. Same channel for sure, but same time-ish. You know, we try to keep it around 7:30, but things are happening in life. You know, you got things to do. Thank you, Ginger, for watching the whole thing. Loves and hugs. Everybody else that's watching in post, thank you for watching. Follow us on our adventures. We have fun around here. I said that already. I'm just stumbling, so we're gonna leave. Bye bye. Goodbye. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.